Hello, hello, and welcome to today's workshop. Learn how to stop overeating. Let me stop my screen share. There, that's better. If we've never met, I'm Deborah Loader. I'm a certified health and wellness coach, and I specialize in resilience, helping women recognize resilience, build resilience, and create the life they want with resilience. We're going to be together for about 30 to 35 minutes today. And if you have any questions as we go along, you can type those in the chat and I will keep an eye on that and try to answer those as soon as I can. I know many of you are going to catch the replay. Lunchtime, for some, works really, really well. And for others, we get caught up in the morning and somehow the lunchtime gets away from us. We're actually going to talk a little bit about that today. But this is lunchtime, so please feel free to go ahead and eat. If your microphones are all muted, that will help with the audio quality of this recording. So thank you so much. Okay, let's jump in. Overeating is a topic many of us don't want to talk about. We don't want to acknowledge that we overeat. Maybe we even feel shame about it. But the reality is the majority of people overeat regularly. I mean, there's nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with me. Sorry, I have a hair. That's the only thing wrong with me is having a hair on my lip. That we don't like that, no. But overeating. So there's nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with me when we overeat. But we're going to talk first about some reasons why we overeat. One is your body is confused. We're often in a rush and we eat our meals based around our commutes and our lunch breaks versus when our bodies ask for food. Our meals are usually distracted and mindless, and we are barely taking the time we need to recognize when we're full. Of course, our bodies are confused. Number two is you're lacking nutrients. The human body carefully deciphers the information it receives and uses it for future communication. In other words, if you are regularly snacking on unhealthy food when you're not physiologically hungry, this information is being handed to your body as a normal occurrence. If your snack of choice does not contain the nutrients your body needs, your body does not know how to communicate that it needs things like essential fats, complex carbohydrates, and high quality proteins. Instead, your body needs to receive these nutrients to signal the finally, I am satisfied feeling. And number three, you're craving something other than food. While it's possible that you're overeating due to mixed signals and poor nutrition, it's most likely that the habit stems from an emotional response. It's not uncommon to seek comfort and pleasure in food. Whether it was a particularly stressful day, you got into an argument with someone close to you, or you're going through a major life change. Food can be the easiest form of stress relief, and for some people, even therapy. Food can symbolize special events and happy times with people you love, and an easy way of treating yourself. However, the result of using food as therapy is short-lived and can facilitate quite a dangerous habit. While it's okay to allow food to comfort you occasionally, you will be interrupting your body's natural stress response system if you begin to rely on this regularly. So those are the whys, the three. Your body's confused, you're lacking nutrients, or you're really craving something else. While overeating can develop from different causes, the steps to get it under control are relatively consistent. First off, we must identify and recognize this as an issue. Second, we must make ourselves available to try different strategies to combat it. And lastly, we must be ready to take control of our life, health, and our happiness. So who's with me? Up next, I'm going to go into different strategies to stop overeating once and for all. First, I want to go over a quick background on mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is a concept derived by Buddhist philosophies, and it's a form of meditation focused on self-reflection. Specifically, the goal of a mindfulness practice is to gain a better understanding of your own emotions and physical sensations and how to effectively manage them. In other words, mindfulness brings awareness and acceptance to the present moment. Now, regardless of how or where it got its start, mindfulness and being present has become a part of our lives now. At least we hear about it all the time. Research has found strong connections between a mindfulness meditation practice and physical, psychological, and emotional health. For example, it's reported to reduce stress, compulsive behavior, and emotional reactivity. Also, there is an improvement in relaxation, our immune system response, and empathy. While it's possible to condense this into a short description, it is nearly impossible to grasp this concept without trying it for yourself fully. Luckily, we're not required to begin a formal daily meditation practice to reap the benefits. Now, next, we will be discussing a specific branch of mindfulness that helps to halt overeating in a nurturing and forgiving way. Mindful eating is the process of bringing your full attention to your experiences, to your cravings, to your physical cues and emotional responses while you're eating. Many elements compose this practice, and some of those are eating slowly, removing distractions, refining communication with your body to recognize true satiety, distinguishing between physical and emotional hunger, entertaining your senses with the details of the food, healing negative relationships you may have with food, noticing the way individual foods make you feel, and lastly, learning to appreciate your food truly. And we'll go over these components and more throughout our time together today, but the ones listed above are fundamental to the practice of mindful eating. These shifts allow you to replace negative thoughts, reactions, and habits around food in more conscious and directed responses. By restoring your attention to the present moment, eating becomes a much more intentional experience versus the automatic, thoughtless encounter that has become the standard in today's society. The benefits of eating slower are plenty. Some of those include more efficient digestion, better hydration, easier weight management, more appreciation and enjoyment for the food being eaten, and conversely, eating quickly or our average speed, leads to poor digestion, weight gain, and less satisfaction from our meals. In our fast-paced society, there are very little things we take the time to do slowly and intentionally. However, neglecting to slow down our eating habits gives us more than a couple extra minutes. It also gives us a lot more extra calories. But how? How does that work? It takes approximately 20 minutes from the start of eating for the brain to communicate the feels of satiety. In other words, you may not even begin to sense being full until after your meal. Researchers at the University of Rhode Island, they examined the speed of various participants, and the study concluded slow eaters consume 2 ounces of food per minute. Medium speed eaters consume approximately 2.5 ounces of food per minute, while fast eaters consume 3.1 ounces of food per minute. So this differentiation of speed makes a huge difference cumulatively. So using this data, it can be concluded that someone who eats fast will eat approximately 22 more ounces of food over those same 20 minutes compared to those who eat slowly. And that really adds up. And that's only for one meal, 22 ounces potentially. Another study conducted at the University of Rhode Island calculated the number of calories consumed between different eating speeds, and the results are shocking. Women who ate quickly consumed 646 calories in 9 minutes. Women who ate slowly consumed 579 calories in 29 minutes. Yep, you heard right. 67 fewer calories in 20 more minutes. But eating more slowly is much easier said than done. We're faced with an abundance of choices, distractions, and pressure in our daily lives. And that easily translates into how we address what's on our plate. Some tips that can help you implement slower eating include a few of the following. Put down your utensils between bites. Put down your fork. Set a minimum number of chews per bite. 20 is good. Many people only chew around 5 chews per bite. Take smaller servings at first and allow yourself to go back if you're still hungry. Set aside 20 to 30 minutes to eat each meal. And another is to find an accountability partner that you can pace your eating with. Preferably somebody that's slower than you are. We are surrounded by distractions. And whether it's responsibilities or entertainment, our attention is taken away from eating when we are scrolling through our emails or Facebook, watching television, or taking phone calls. Whenever your brain is occupied by another task, eating becomes a mindless act. And this leaves you susceptible to missing your body's natural hunger cues and often overeating. Next time that you eat with distractions, ask yourself, did I enjoy this food? How much did I eat? Am I getting full? Do I feel nourished? If these questions are hard to answer, it's a clear indication that you are not truly paying attention to what's on your plate, and in turn, not experiencing the benefits that your food can provide. What senses come to mind when you think of food? I mean, usually we stop at taste and maybe smell, but all five of our senses are involved in eating. So let's break it down. Taste, number one. This may seem obvious, but how often do you really pay attention to the individual tastes of the food that we eat? Does it taste sweet or sour or bitter, salty or savory? Can you tell what seasonings are on it? Do you like the way it tastes? Number two is smell. The smell of food is closely related to the taste. Notice the smell. Does it smell fresh? Does the smell remind you of anything else? A memory, maybe. Number three is to look. Take a look at the shape, the color, and size of your food. Are the colors vibrant or dull? Do you think the presentation of the meal looks appealing? Can you tell how it was prepared by looking at it? Number four is feel. Pay attention to the texture of the food as you're eating it. Is it crunchy, chewy, grainy, greasy? Is it hot or cold? Is it dry or moist, light or heavy? And number five is to listen. Believe it or not, your food makes noise. When you bite into it, does it crunch? Do you slurp it? Research has explored how people interact with the senses of their foods. Plates filled with food of strong aromas, vibrant and varied colors, and a pleasant, smooth texture provided more satisfaction to the participants. This prevented overeating by feeling they truly had enough food the first go around. Did you know that the same part of your brain is responsible for communicating when you are hungry and when you are thirsty? This explains how easily we can confuse the two sensations. Whenever you begin to feel hungry, try drinking a glass of water and wait 15 minutes. You may be surprised to discover how that satisfies you. And even if you aren't hungry and you're not misinterpreting it for thirst, it's still beneficial to implement this practice. Drinking a glass of water before a meal starts to send a signal of feeling full to the brain before you even start to eat. A healthy sleep schedule is crucial for many of our body's natural processes. After all, our sleep cycle is the time for our bodies to make the necessary switch from our fight or flight, that sympathetic nervous system, to our rest and digest, that parasympathetic nervous system. Inadequate sleep relates to an increase in hunger signals. A study published in Sleep showed that those who only sleep 4.5 hours a night for 4 nights in a row ate 300 more calories and snacks in one sitting versus those who have gotten over 8 hours a night. Now, further studies have found that this lack of sleep causes a rise in a chemical that has proven to cause people to overeat, specifically with foods that are high in sugar, salt, and fat. Now, it's important to note that the quality of your sleep is the emphasis here. Just because you've been in bed for 8.5 hours does not mean you slept soundly and woke up rested. If you have trouble maintaining a healthy sleep routine, try out some of these tips to get you prepped for a good night's sleep. Take a warm bath. Drink a cup of chamomile tea. Listen to some soft music. Cuddle up with a good book, a real book. Limit screen time before bed. Avoid alcohol, caffeine, and excessive sugar late in the day. And practice relaxation techniques like gentle yoga or maybe some breathing exercises. Also, it's a common scene. Shortly after eating dinner, we're looking for a snack. Does that sound familiar? Although many people report that they experience strong food cravings in the evening, it turns out that there is a decline in the activation of the neurological reward pathway, or the mechanism that allows food to satisfy us or hit the spot. Now, this phenomenon is actively being studied, yet questions still arise on why it is happening and how to combat this tricky reaction. The best advice is to stay busy, making after dinner plans, whether it be to meet up with a friend or watch your favorite TV show or begin a new book or go for a walk. That can overcome the sensation. The key is to make it something enjoyable. That way you're experiencing joy in something beyond your plate. Creating some distance between you and your plate once you feel full is a simple and effective way to minimize habitual grazing. The act of pushing your plate away from you, or even putting it away completely, tells your brain that you are done and there's no reason to keep eating. If you put your food out of easy reach, it takes more effort to get more. This effort changes this decision into an intentional one versus mindlessly snacking on the leftovers in front of you. The same concept goes for snacks. If snacks, such as candy in the office, are within reach and visible, it's much more likely that they'll be eaten more frequently without much thought. However, if these pesky treats require a walk to the break room to indulge, it is now your choice to get up and get some. Here are a few tips on removing traps that encourage overeating in our lives. One is to order less and allow yourself seconds if needed. Another is to use smaller plates and taller glasses. Play around with the color of your dishes. Make it playful. Have healthy, filling foods always available. And last, don't eat from the package, like chips or cookies. So I'm curious if you have any tips that I should add to this list. I'd love to hear about them. We seek pleasure naturally. And this could be from the food we eat, the things we listen to, the view out our windows, the joy of good company. That being said, we are not solely filling up on the calories of the food we eat, but the amount of joy we experience it by seeing it, by smelling it, by sharing it, and eating it. Taking the time to set the mood for a meal can noticeably increase the satisfaction that it brings you. Some examples of how to do this are: use your best dishes. Prepare it nicely on your plate, nice presentation. Light a candle. Play some relaxing music. Invite your favorite people to join you. Now, much of the food in today's food supply lacks the nutrients that our bodies need. Instead, they're carefully engineered chemicals with the goal of tricking our brains that we're hungry. Yep, you heard that right. Most of the processed food we eat today signals that we are hungry after eating them versus satiated. Because of this lack of essential nutrients, you are consuming excess calories before your brain is even aware that you've eaten enough. Your brain is patiently waiting to receive the protein, the fiber, and the vitamins and minerals you need to function properly. Each meal should be constructed with nutrients in mind. high quality proteins like meat, eggs, milk, and beans, and fiber, which are in most of our vegetables, combats overeating. Your brain receives this message and signals the feeling of fullness. And it does it more accurately and much faster versus the empty calories of the packaged snack foods. It's also a common theme that our lives are busier than our meal plans. Maybe you woke up too late to eat breakfast, or your lunchtime is stolen by extra work that needs to be done. These are not good excuses for missing meals, but sometimes it's out of our control. Instead, try to plan to have something available that is easy and nutritious for when you're in a pinch. At the very least, have some filling snacks around, as this avoids overeating once you do finally get to eat a meal. This deprivation of food throughout the day leads your body feeling it needs more than it actually does as a result of drops in your blood sugar, release of hunger hormones, and a strong urge to overindulge. Stressful situations lead to the release of cortisol, or it's better known as our stress hormone. And it's no surprise that this hormone relates to hunger promotion. Although food is often seen as a quick fix for stress, it's not a healthy habit. Instead, try practicing some of these stress management techniques when you begin to feel like you need comfort from your food. Could go for a nice walk, take a warm bath, listen to your favorite music, start a new book, arrange to spend time with loved ones, even if it's just on the phone. Schedule a massage or a facial. Do some exercise or some movement. Practice meditation. I have some wonderful meditations for stress and relaxation. Let me know if that would be helpful for you. Involving your family and close friends in this process can be beneficial to not only them, but to you as well. The power of accountability is very strong. And you may find that sharing the experience with them helps you savor the experience more, paying more attention to your meal together, and to better avoid overindulgence. Having someone to discuss this process, share the transformation, and rejoice in the benefits, it's an incredible tool to end overeating for good. And speaking to yourself is encouraged when you're looking to refine your body's communication. So ask yourself, am I hungry? Am I satisfied? Do I need more food? What's causing me to crave more? How fast did I eat? Did I eat intentionally? Did I enjoy what I had eaten? Would I have changed anything? Honor your responses and adjust accordingly. And remember that it's unlikely that this change will occur overnight. However, there are many strategies you can begin to implement immediately that will make a huge difference in your battle against overindulgence. I have a link to the top 50 websites dedicated to mindful eating. Let me know if you want that one. I also have a link for the top 10 mindful eating phone apps. Top 10, yeah. Let me know if you're interested in that. And lastly, if you're interested in learning more just about mindful eating, I'd love to talk to you about that. I have several tools that are super cool, like sensuous eating, how to chew, along with some mindful eating meditations that have proven very powerful. Of the three categories of the whys, your body is confused because we're so rushed. you're lacking the nutrients, or you are craving something other than food. Which one of those resonates the most with you? For me, I feel like it's a habit created because I'm craving something other than food, especially this past year. Even though I'm an introvert, I love the social aspect of relationships. Even just going to the gym, I like the classes as opposed to working out by myself. And this past year has created a void that very easily I can fill with food. So, how about you? Do you find yourself in one of those categories? Whichever it is, there are ways to overcome it. I went over quite a few ways here in this workshop, and you can implement many of them right away. If you want more support to continue to make changes and move forward, then let's set up a time to talk. Let's talk about what your journey or your path might look like. Thank you for taking the time to join me in this life-changing workshop. You can stop the overeating habit. No shame, no judgment, only possibilities. Let me share my screen with my contact information. Let me do that real quickly. There we go. If you have any further questions, please reach out. Either with a question or to set up a time to chat. There's my website, my email, my phone number, Facebook information, all of that. All of that is right there. Go ahead and take that down. I am always here to support you. Let me know your questions or your comments. Thank you again. And until next time, I invite you to live well.